Episode 15, Sonic Conversion. What, will they convert Sonic into something else? It'd have to be temporary. Snively tells Robotnik that his virtual reality machine is ready, and he briefly insults Robotnik, calling him a toad, showing an actual personality finally because he now hates Robotnik, which makes much more sense. But it was done much more naturally in the comic where he started to hate him for a very good reason. Sally says that the plane might be faster than Sonic and they have to get back to Knothole. Wait, already? Why were they here in the first place? Robotnik says to activate the laser cannon, and a flying machine next to Chuck seems to have Robotnik's face on it on its window screen. I guess just to freak Sonic out. Reminds me of Late Fleetway. When Sonic comes closer, he presses a button and Sally warns him to look up, letting him see and avoid a laser, so that was useful of her. Then she hands him his ring so he can boost away from the flying machine, and Robotnik seems to panic at the flying machine moving all over the place. Should I call it an airship? Or a spaceship? Because flying machine always sounds awkward when I say it, but I don't know what else to call it. He tells Snively he lied. He said that the robot would outrun Sonic. And Snively says they just have to install more thrust boosters. Oh, I heard about this moment. He asks what color is his heart, and Snively can't see one. Of course he can't see one! You're just looking through his throat! Dulcie says that Tails can't be disturbing the heroes during their experiments. This is such a stark contrast to the other continuities like Archie in the games, where Tails being allowed to be in the lab lets him learn how to be an engineer. Surprisingly, Bunny gets her organic limbs back just like that. Well, okay then. And it's because of a Roboticizer that had decent foreshadowing in past episodes to its building. That's less creative than Ix's doing it, but it also makes more sense. Bunny's useless now, but with Dulcie around, I think I can handle it. We still have a super strength character. At least I assume Dulcie has super strength, since she's big. I assume Bunny will magically revert back to normal because fuck continuity, right? Especially since she just got her legs to be extendable, and it'd be totally pointless if that was only used in one episode. That'd be terrible writing. Sonic gives Uncle Chuck a ring, returning his free will, and he gets them to the Roboticizer. See, comic? This is how you do it. It's really that easy. Sonic just carries Uncle Chuck to the Roboticizer at super speed. Though predictably, it's not going to be that easy to de-roboticize him, especially since Bunny was de-roboticized already, so it was begging for a twist. Somehow, the de-roboticization machine, an actual twist, took away Chuck's temporary free will, and he has to be imprisoned because of it. Sally asked Nicole to do some searching for compatible metal parts. The only match is Robotnik's Roboticizer, so they have to start again from scratch. How did Nicole even know that in the first place? It would be hard to just explain that she's psychic, that she was infused with psychic powers from a psychic. Sonic intentionally gets captured and brought to Robotnik, probably an employee to steal from him. And he tells Robotnik that he can't take the stress anymore. Robotnik is John savvy enough to not buy it, and Sonic, being held by the machines, moves his legs really fast to destroy them and make Robotnik spin around in his chair. Then he activates anti-gravity with a shoe and he flies away. Thanks, Rotor, you were useful for making those shoes. Why didn't he have those the whole show? Why didn't he have those before he even became a freedom fighter? As a result of Sonic's plan, Chuck gets de-roboticized. This is much better than the BEM aliens doing it out of nowhere in the comic, as Sonic actually gets a major victory because it was Sonic who did it. And I'm sure it'll be completely robbed from him by Chuck reverting to normal, right? Because fuck continuity. Chuck says that everyone as a robot knew what was going on and just couldn't do anything about it. And yet Chuck is talking all lightheartedly about it instead of being horrified by the memories and totally traumatized because forced lightheartedness. What, like, this is like Fleetway levels of gutless, because why would you write a scenario where this should be horrifying and like really dark and yet, oh, it's not because of no reason? Why did you even write that at all? You could have easily had him not say that. By the way, why is Rotor really dark gray now? I guess he fell in some fireplace soot and spent a lot of time on a treadmill, so I think he's a little skinnier. And of course, it turns out that because bullshit, Bunny's de-roboticization was only temporary, so the same can be said for Uncle Chuck. This is so stupidly arbitrary. There's no explanation for this at all. Hell, Ixis or Mammoth Mogul Intentionally sabotaging the roboticizer out of nowhere would have been a better explanation. Tails trips and drops the sub into Antoine's mouth, and Tails is fine with taking it from him to eat himself, despite the germs. Then Uncle Chuck returns to, well, not normal, but robotic form. This is so stupid. Maybe if Robotnik hit him and Bunny with roboticizing rays, this would make sense. Instead, he kidnaps the two useless characters, creates some electricity in the tool shed, and brings them away using a hot air balloon briefly. That in the comic, Antoine used a hot air balloon to be a badass, but no. Antoine, will you shut the fuck up? Seriously. Dulcie is asked why she can't fly above the trees, and fortunately she does so right afterwards. So they're not trying to make her an idiot. Sally tells her to go get Sonic rather than following Chuck. Then Chuck lets go of Tails, says that the Megamuck is part mud and part petroleum. It's good that they explain that. And digs into it with a stick. I thought his priority one was capturing the freedom fighters. And yet he's doing this? Why? A glitch? Sonic gets a ring, apologizes to Sally for no clear reason at all. Hell, if anything, she's the one who should be apologizing to him for treating him like a stupid idiot all the time. Sonic's the Knuckles of the show. At least their hug is sweet. Like, a part of me does appreciate any time they have, like, affection between each other because they're being happy and it's a sweet moment. Sonic runs away, runs over the surface of the lake as I wonder why Antoine and Tails didn't just run away from Chuck a long time ago. Oh, I guess their hands are tied. So it'd be hard for them to stand up and start running away? Sonic is trapped in the green liquid he was just running across for some reason, which is frustrating as Chuck easily leads with the so-called heroes. This is such a frustrating episode. Dulcie says this will be perfect, flies over to Sonic, and slides over the surface of the water and into Sonic.
Don't say a word, Sonic Hedgehog. I've had a real bad day.
You have? No, you haven't. At least her showing sassiness is engaging and interesting. She was never like that in the comic. After some episode time is completely wasted by Tails and Antoine trying to talk Chuck out of it, somehow Sonic manages to talk Chuck into breaking free of the damn brainwashing. How? How? This is the Mutsky thing all over again. Only hopefully permanent. Come on! You know what? I take it back. The comic was way better at explaining how he got his free will. At least him being teleported somewhere is better to get his free will back than Sonic talking him out of brainwashing. How stupid do you think I am? Maybe if he had a huge amount of rings, I would have bought this. I love the idea of Chuck being a spy against Robotnik to help Sonic, though. But it should be reached in a way that's satisfying. He plans to help Sonic get the roboticization materials to be useful, unlike the second time he was a spy in the comic. He pretends to grab Sonic, Sonic gets free, and he and Sonic tell them they love each other. That's good. Then Sonic runs away from the flying machine with Robotnik's face on it, and sadly actually screams like it's a horror movie when Robotnik confronts him. At least the Fleetway comic had the guts to actually show us Eggman hitting Grimer multiple times. Here, it's only implied when SatAm Robotnik's already the most dark and edgy villain ever anyways. Sonic calls himself a bonehead, saying that he should have listened to Sally and waited before trying to save Chuck. Even though what he did was clearly worth it because he's a spy now. I guess it's because they don't have a working roboticizer yet, but Sonic had every reason to assume it wouldn't be temporary. Oh boy. Okay, this is actually reminding me of Penders' trademark here. Brilliant ideas, terrible execution. I like the ideas here. The heroes get a deroboticizer going, which was heavily foreshadowed, and use it on Bunny and Chuck, with Sonic actually bringing him to it himself to get a major victory. There's also a twist where the process was only temporary, so Bunny isn't forever robbed of her usefulness, and neither is Chuck because he could be an awesome spy against Robotnik instead of just being another engineer. And now here's what sucks. None of this makes any sense. If Sonic had hundreds of rings on his hand, or found a Chaos Emerald, which this show is blatantly ignoring, then I would have bought Chuck getting back his free will. Like, he could get all those rings and they could fuse with his aura so he doesn't have to hold them. There's no way a brainwashed person can just think their way out of brainwashing forever. That's stupid. That is the laziest way to explain it ever. You know what? It was almost good. Maybe if when he returned to being a robot, he still had his free will, it would have worked, because the lingering effects of the deroboticization still existed. I assumed that deroboticizer never turned him organic, but simply worked halfway by giving him permanent free will. Like I forgot what this episode was about when I was reading the script, and I assumed that maybe this was going to be the case. I really wish this was the explanation. And Bunny turning back into a cyborg just made no sense. There was no excusing that. They shouldn't have even done that to her at all because they should know how useful she could be as a cyborg to them. That was so stupid of Sally. That should have been a wait until Robotnik's taken down goal. Even Bunny had a smarter idea. Like when she found a portable deroboticizer in the comic, her idea wasn't to make herself not a cyborg anymore. She immediately came up with a plan to make Sally become a robot and use that on herself. But instead, like Bunny's smarter than this. I thought Sally was supposed to be smart, and her not being smart makes her treating Sonic like an idiot even worse because she's a hypocrite, and she's not been called out on it at all, so it's not like she's not so above it all, because the writing seems totally unaware that she is that way. This plot just made no sense. At least Chuck kidnapped the useless freedom fighters, explaining why they couldn't do anything about it because they're useless, but that whole subplot never should have happened at all if it was going to be resolved in such a bullshit, lazy Deus Ex Machina way, which is the kind of writing I only expect out of the comic. Like how Mike Gallagher makes Sonic vibrate to go intangible all the time. Normally the show is written well, so extremely forced plot holes like this are really a lot more rare. Now I'm going to give the show the benefit of the doubt this time and assume that there is continuity finally. Because if there wasn't, there would be no point to Chuck becoming a spy for the heroes just to not do anything with it in the show. But it's a little late to start now. Where did the secret scrolls go? How did Robotnik get power back to his city so fast when his generators were destroyed? What about the power rock? What happened to the scorch plant seeds? I guess we'll never know. This is a good show, mostly in relation to the other Sonic shows, but I can't respect it as much as the comic when it doesn't have any regard for continuity, because then there's no consequences and nothing really matters. At least now it's actually caring about that, and it's in the, God forbid, Dulcie era of the show. Well, if it has actual continuity now, like I would expect, then logic would dictate it's the best part of the show, no matter how annoying her slapstick is. If this is supposed to be the horrible era of SatAm, then bring on the horrible. And again, I didn't find her annoying at all in this episode. She did some flying to save Sonic from quicksand. That was helpful. I like that she didn't crash into any trees. I mean, sure, she's clumsy, but in a contrast to Antoine, her clumsiness isn't really a problem.